Welcome. And it's so nice. And if you look at my haircut, this is just the older version of Frans, um, taken from the 1980s. I was in the army between 1980 and 84, and this was the kind of haircut that we got. And we called that the first one a roofie cut. Now, I hope you guys can understand that and remember that. For me, it's nice and short, and I hope you enjoy the show with me. Well, let's kick off with Bitcoin. Kelly is on my back, and she said, please, Frans, I would like to have a look at Bitcoin. I like the cryptocurrency market, and let's have a look at it, Kelly. We looked at it before, and I got a few requests from viewers that's quite keen on Bitcoin. But if I look at this chart, it first needs to break above this level of 9,364. And what makes me a little bit nervous, and I must just tell you, that every time that you see this sharp move up in Bitcoin, what it does, it pulls back. And I think we've seen another sharp move, and the big thing is now it must turn this line, this resistance line, it must turn in a support. So if you want to chase it, I'm not a keen momentum trader. I like to rather trade when the share or the instrument is turning around. Like here, that's my kind of trade. I like a U-shaped recovery, a little bit of a breather, and then up. I like that. Maybe you are a momentum trader. I know a few momentum traders that's very successful. You know, on momentum, those guys, most of them, they are not greedy. They take their profit, and if that line breaks, it can easily go to 10,210, and that will be the place where they will maybe say, listen, we're happy with our $100 or so, and we will walk away with it. And the next level above that, Kelly, is 10,557, and that is quite a strong point. That one there, if I can just maybe show you there's like a double top there. If we can see that Bitcoin can break above that, then I'm convinced that this chart will maybe give us a nice move. And there you are, you see this double top there, that the instrument had some resistance, and that is sitting at 11,703. But let's give you a stop loss. If you do trade it, make use of a stop loss of $8,506 just to protect yourself, because remember, Bitcoin is very volatile. You can see here it rallied in one way up and squeeze back easily down. But I mean, if you've got the appetite for that and you like that, I hope that you are correct. Well, let's have a look at gold. Bashir sent me a tweet, and he said, Frans, can you just have a look at gold? This, of course, we know is the future of all currencies. I like that statement. And if I look at this, look what gold did. I mean, I can remember many years ago, a friend of mine, he actually dropped me an SMS those years back. I think it was here in the 1990s, around there. He said to me, Frans, can you believe it that gold just touched this morning 285? Now, can you believe it? Now we're sitting on 1,685. And I hope some of your viewers, Bashir, maybe I can just steal a minute of your time. Some of your viewers can remember maybe this formation that we pointed out a few years back. And there was the left shoulder, and there was the right shoulder, the head, and there's the right shoulder, and then it broke up, and it played out to the team. And I can remember a few years back, Julieta actually asked me, Frans, if you've got such a long consolidation or a stretched, or let's call it a formation that's been built over years, does it have a lot of significance? Well, you're right. The big thing is, even if you don't know your formations, you get and you find a place where you see all these overhang resistance. And when that resistance breaks, it's with any share. If it battles maybe a year or two to actually get going, if it breaks that level, it will go with a vengeance. Well, let's have a look at it, Bashir. Gold, of course, had one beautiful rally. Everybody's into gold. And what worries me a little bit, and remember, this is a weekly chart once again. Look at this beautiful rally all the way to the top. And first of all, we must say to ourselves that the momentum is still clearly to the upside. So nothing is wrong with the medium chart of gold. The only thing that worries me, is when you see these lamp-pole formations in gold, these steep rallies, there's one, there's another one, there's another one, and we're busy with another one. You always see a little bit of a pullback. There's one and there's one. So I think that we may be on the brink of gold just, let's call it having a little bit of a breather, because gold had a fantastic rally. And for me, although the momentum is still up, I don't know if you're a long-term or a short-term trader. Can you see what I see here? I see a support line that is a support, but was a resistance for a while. There it was a resistance, then it turned into a support. Then you get, let's just maybe zoom it out. There you are. Let's just show you. You are. There it was a resistance. It turned out into being a support. It came back. That is a positive goodbye kiss, and it rallied up. Now it's pulling back. Now it's coming back close to this support line. So, Bashir, I just want to warn you. If this line, and remember, everybody in the world is at this point in time in on gold. And I've sometimes got a little bit of a contrarian view. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. And I like gold as well, but at the right point. And if it breaks below 1,675, you can easily see what we call, there's the low, and then we can see a lower low. That is negative. So we'll have to see above 1,675, the momentum is purely to the upside. Everything is 100% with gold. Nothing can go wrong. Everybody believes that's the commodity of the future. And maybe you're right. You remember SPA oil when I discussed it a week or so back? Nobody could believe that it could pick up, and it had a beautiful rally already. Just be nervous on gold. If everything is just too beautiful, sometimes it turns a little bit sour, and maybe a little bit of a pullback. Remember, only below 1,675. And of course, if it breaks above 1,734, we can actually see it a little bit higher. And if we do there a little bit of an extension, because that's maybe what everybody wants to hear from me, let's just do that. If it gets, the next resistance level will be close to 1,783. So gold is strong, the momentum looks beautiful, everybody loves it. I'm just a little bit nervous. Let's have a look at Steinhoff. Jacques asked me about Steinhoff, and he said to me, Frans, Steinhoff, I like the stock. I think it's the stock for the future. Maybe I must buy it. And what I do pick up from a lot of viewers nowadays, they almost feel like they've lost out on this beautiful rally that the market gave. And now they start to look at second liners to actually see if they can actually make a few rand out of it. Well, I'm just a little bit nervous, Jacques. If I look at Steinhoff here, let's have a look. There's almost that level again where we must decide if it's a support or a resistance. And in this case, if we look at it, it's a support at the moment. And if it holds above this, and there's your level, if it can hold above a rand, I'm still positive that it can maybe move a little bit higher. But for me personally, I will use this little line. I will use this resistance line. Give me an indication if Steinhoff can maybe give another move to the upside. Let's take that 1 rand line out away, and let's have a look at that. There you are. I just want to draw it in correctly. There you are. If it can break above 1 rand and 18 cents, Jacques, I can see that it can maybe give us a nice push to the upside. At the moment, unfortunately not, and I will use that 1 rand as my stop loss level. And if it breaks that 118, my targets to the top will be 135, and maybe there's a nice level 148, and it can maybe reach up to 168 if it stays above 1 rand, and then of course break above that resistance line. That's important to see. It must break above it. And remember, this is also a weekly chart. Now, Mark asked about the Dow Jones. He say the Dow Jones is the darling of the market. We know by now that the Americans, they going on like you can't believe. Their markets are running ahead of themselves. And I just want to show you guys. Remember, we are now in a place in the world where everybody is just nervous. And everybody is believing that the markets is maybe a little bit in a hurry. And if you look at this now, I just want to show you something. The Dow is trading now at 23,895. Let's use this line all the way back, and then we see that the Dow Jones is on 20th of November 2017, and even last year in January, it was exactly the same level. Now let's think about it. If you take the world and you lock the whole economy up for almost 5-6 weeks, as we know it's carrying on, and the Dow consolidate around these levels, I'm very nervous, but I'm the last one to say that it's going to crack because everybody is just chasing the Dow. But my first sign of weakness will be just below that line. Let's just draw it in there. That will be also a lower low. It will make us a little bit nervous. There you are. And that will be below 23,669. What makes me a little bit nervous is this. I'm seeing what we call a megaphone formation on the Dow Jones. Now let's have a look here. And remember, this is a weekly chart, of course. Let's have a look here. Now we know by now that megaphone formations tends to give us mixed signals. So in this band, it can be very, very confusing for us. But I hope I'm wrong. If this megaphone formation breaks out and it changes in a jaws of death formation, I project it to the downside. Of course, the opposite is also true to the upside. We can maybe see the Dow Jones all the way down 12,783. So only positive above 25,072 reach maybe for this resistance. If that little level gives, and this big level gives at 20,250, I see a nasty move to the downside. I cannot believe that the Dow is here. It is here, but let's see when the economy is actually showing its true colors, then we'll know we're right or wrong. Well, we'll talk again.